Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. It is the Daily Dish, and it's Wise Women's Wednesday. What do you think of that? Hi, Laura, already posting her Hot Melt 30. If you're here for Hot Melt 30, don't forget to post your hashtag Hot Melt 30, because we're showing up for each other. Do you remember that? We show up. Hello, Jane and Alice. It is day 2 of the Hot Melt 30. Aren't you excited and glad about that? I certainly am. Just so much to be thankful for, isn't there? Oh, look, and then look who shows up. Simply Blessed. Don't you feel simply blessed? Well, hello, Simply Blessed. I'm so glad to have you here. And Doris, good afternoon to you. Wait a minute. Happy Hot Melt 40. Jane, are you going the extra mile? I'll give you extra points for that. Good grief. Good for you. And there's our girl, Chris, also here, Hot Melt 30 as well. Who was here last night for the commitment signing contract? Wasn't that good? You know, when there is a palpable chemistry when people get together and support one another. You know, we're all on the same page. We don't have to stop and explain anything. It just happens. We just gel. It's just, I don't know. It feels really, really good. I think so. Sue, you were there. You were. And so there's Nancy, our mother hen. Cheers to you, mother hen. Glad you're here. You know, I'm showing up, girlfriend. Yes, you are. You show up. Listen, you know how important it is that you show up? When we show up for each other, when we say something, when we do something, everything changes. Hey, Jocelyn, I'm glad you're here. Laura, I know you were there. I want to tell you a quick story of a friend of mine. Her name's Sandy. Sandy and Fillmore. Fillmore is an Episcopal Anglican church priest in a church in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we have been friends since 1994. And the whole way that we came together was just one of those God things, for sure. Totally. Hey, Sarah, I'm so glad to see you. Paige is walking to wisdom this Wednesday. You know what that means? She's on her treadmill being accountable, which I love, by the way. So here's the gig. Sandy and I met, and Fillmore and I met, and the whole way that this happened, it was no coincidence. It was totally God. And we have stayed friends all these years since 1994. And my kids were little and hiding under rounders at a clothing store. That's where we met. But it was all set up divinely beforehand. Someday I'll tell you the long story. It's a glass of wine story. But anyway, the thing that was so incredible about this whole thing was that, you know, as we became friends, as we developed a friendship into life, even now, I always remember that time that Sandy made me a lasagna, and I was going through some really rough stuff. She made me this lasagna, and I just knew it was just that small. She was making one anyway, but she made one for me. And it was just to say, I see you, I care about you, and let's be friends. And all these years later, here we are still friends, right? That's how we are with each other. You know, we might have this virtual community, if you will, but we have gotten together in the skin, in the flesh, haven't we, y'all? You know who you are. Sarah, who was there. Jane was there. Nancy was there. There's a bunch of you who were there. And it was just something. There is something about that. This is how we move the needle in our lives. This is how we connect. And this is something that is in our DNA. We are coded to be these women. Speaking of women, there's Lynn. I see you. I care about you. Let's be friends. Exactly, Sarah. And there's Flynn too. Gosh, I'm so glad you're here. And Jeanette. So here's the gig. We're not going to make each other lasagnas, but we can certainly show up for each other. We can get into our hot milk community and we can post pictures and do all kinds of stuff. And I know a bunch of you have done that. I couldn't get on this morning, but Amber's posted my pictures. I got up there in front of the mirror, did my thing. Y'all, I put on the tightest workout shirt that I have. You can see all the rolls. You can see all the everything. But you know what? It's honest and it's there. You can also see my fuzzy boots because my feet are cold. Stark, I'm glad you're here. You're late on your way to an appointment, but you're listening. That's important. Beauty support is our supplement of the week, y'all. And grab it while you can. It is flying out the door. Savingdinner.com/show. If you know about beauty support, you know what a needle mover this is. I swear by this stuff. I take it every morning, every night. I take one in the morning, take one at night before I go to bed. It helps you to make your own collagen. 97% of us have a deficit. 97% of us aren't making our own collagen because we're past a certain age. So can I just make a suggestion? Get this and get on it because it's a screaming deal. Savingdinner.com/show. Okay. And don't forget, this will all be in the newsletter. And we have savingdinner.com/announcements where all the stuff is sitting there waiting just for you. Also, we have the Gorgeous Skin webinar coming up. You know, you can have gorgeous skin at any age. Did you know that? You know, I have women who you would cry over some of the emails. Some of the emails that I have received over, and I know that feeling. You know, I'm 64. I get it. We look at ourselves in the mirror and we go, what happened? Where are you? Where is this? But you know, we age, y'all. We age. Sarah says she'll testify to beauty support. I know you will, Sarah. I mean, it's the best stuff in the whole world. Hi, Emily. You know, and Nancy, I saw your order going out today, as a matter of fact. So if you want to be a part of our Gorgeous Skin webinar, it is next Wednesday, a week from today. It will be held at savingdinner.com/gorgeous, because that's you, darling. Sign up to get this. You know, skin is more than just what's on the surface. It's what's going on underneath. So we have to hit it on both fronts. And I'm going to give you the full lowdown on what it is, how to do it, how to take good care of yourself, and how to get this gorgeous skin. Plus, we also have we have skincare that's just phenomenal. And I use it every single day. I just put the vitamin C on, by the way. Beauty support for ligaments, tendons, and brains too. Absolutely. Because here's the thing, collagen is involved in every single tissue of your body. It's more abundant in your bones than calcium is even. And it's supportive of even your organs. Even your organs use collagen, you know, to hold it. Everything's held together with collagen. It's kind of the glue that holds your body together. So we need this. We need thicker, tougher skin. As we get older, our skin gets thinner. We need better everything. And this is what beauty support does. So get on it. Savingdinner.com/show, for heaven's sakes, is where you get your beauty support. And also, are you going to show up next Wednesday? We're going to get together. Another get together, another opportunity to be together and to gel as a community. I'll make you a lasagna. No, I won't, but I wish I could. I would. You know I would, right? Anyway, that's savingdinner.com/gorgeous to get that webinar. And you'll see it's going to be in the newsletter. In tomorrow's newsletter, it'll all be in there. And you just need to go get your seat. That's it. That's all you need to do. It's free. Here's the free. All right, today, Wednesday, because today's Wednesday, I want to talk about uncertainty. Okay? How do you like uncertainty? Anybody? All right. First of all, what was his name? Walt Disney has the best quote that we have to go over. And he says, the best way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing, right? Don't you feel like your mother just scolded you? I'm telling you, Star, you know what? Today's your first day on Hot Milk 30. Here's to you, Star, for taking action, right? You take action, girlfriend, and you stopped talking and you started doing. And that I give you 10 gold stars, Star. And I give you stars too, all the stars that everybody who's showing up for Hot Milk 30, all the stars. Go see my pictures. I posted my own pictures. I couldn't get in there. Amber posted them for me, but I went and took them. Go take your pictures. Get in there. Be accountable. Allow the rising tide to bring you up too. Okay? Let's just do this because life is full of uncertainty. That's what we're going to talk about today. Uncertainty is something, isn't it? But it's part of life, and no one likes it. I don't know of a single soul who says, yeah, give me all the uncertainty in the world. Nobody wants uncertainty. Everybody wants to be sure, know what's next, right? Don't we want that? Of course we do. But then all of a sudden in 2020, March in 2020, we're finding out we're in a pandemic and we're shutting down the country for 2 weeks, right? No one's going to work. There's no traffic jams. Everybody's at home with their eyes as big as saucers going, now what's next? Mark was coming in the door with our groceries and I was making him strip all of his clothes off in the garage and go take a shower immediately. And I took his clothes with tongs and threw them in the wash and washed them at a temperature that was way hotter than supposed to do with clothes. I took every single one of our groceries and washed them all down. We didn't know, uncertainty. Pandemics, talk about uncertainty. Uncertainty for days. Oops, you know what I forgot? I forgot to bring TikTok on, but I'm going to do it right now. So no one likes uncertainty. No one is saying sign me up for uncertainty, and yet it's a part of life. Witness the pandemic, for example. But there's also little things like traffic. Do you plan for traffic when you go out? Some people are going out the door and they are planning for just the exact amount of time that the GPS is telling them that they need, right? Yeah. But what happens? There's a traffic jam, there's a redirect, there's an accident. You get in an accident. We don't plan for that stuff because the uncertainty that's out there, sometimes it happens. It's part of life. How about waiting in line? Anybody ever wait in line? I remember just this last time, Mark and I were coming home from the wedding in September. And guess what? We have TSA, the TSA approved check mark thing. We forgot to put them on our tickets. We couldn't get them put on our tickets afterwards. We waited in this line that we started to get into the line for TSA pre-check or TSA, just the TSA line. And it was way out past where all the check-ins were for all the different airlines. I couldn't believe it was ridiculous. We almost didn't make our plane because of that. Did we plan for it? Well, we got to the airport when we should have, but I wasn't planning on that because we had TSA pre-check. So that put Mark in the doghouse, let me tell you. How about going to a doctor's office? Anyone? Doctor's office? You've ever been to a doctor's office and you find out that whoopsie-doo, you're going to have to wait an hour to see the doctor? It happens all the time. For whatever reason, they always get way behind. Chris, you're so right. Living in Southern California, let me tell you, in the 80s, when I lived in Southern California, and I was a sales rep, my territory was Los Angeles, and I had Los Angeles and Orange County. And let me tell you, it was the world's worst. It was the world's worst. I used to come home and practically cry because of all the traffic that I was constantly, I was always late for an appointment, but that's how it is in Southern California. It's really hard to plan around. But, you had certain times that you would leave, but then still you never knew. Thank God. You know what else has happened have you noticed the traffic has just changed? Since we have things like Help Scout or whatever it is, the 405, don't even get there. I can't think about it without a headache. But that just happens, that just happens. We have to plan for it. But there's also things that happen that are uncertainty where you get a diagnosis from a doctor. And now you're going to have to rearrange your life according to this diagnosis, the medications, the possible therapies, whatever it is. And then there's a status change in relationship. You know what I'm talking about. If you've been through a divorce or lost a loved one or a spouse, you know exactly what it is. Sky D says, I know, Sky D, right here on TikTok says, why life is so hard. Why is life so hard? I don't know. If I knew the answer to that and could solve that, I would probably be a bazillionaire, but I don't. But I do know that there is certainty in life, and I do know that what there is uncertainty as well, and we just have to learn how to navigate it. That's what I know. So all of these examples that I just gave, you've lived through probably most of them, haven't you? Have you? I have. And you've bemoaned them, or you've had friends that have lived through them. But it all leaves us with this feeling inside of just ugh, uncertainty, uncertainty. Thoughts on gay people. Boy, people are asking me a lot of stuff. They're people just like you and me. How's that? There's my thought. Big thoughts. How about big things? Huh? Big things, small things. Uncertainty is a fact of life. It's uncertainty when, I had just the other day, I opened up a package of frozen broccoli. That's what I feed Lincoln, by the way. Thoughts of frozen broccoli. And in it, my thought was there was going to be pieces of broccoli. Instead, it was just this one big thing that was all globbed together. There was uncertainty in a bag of frozen broccoli. And I know I'm just kind of being goofy a little bit here, but uncertainty is around every corner. And we always act so surprised and so put out like, oh my gosh, this is such a thing. But you know what the thing is with uncertainty? You know where really we get into trouble with uncertainty? It is when we dwell on it. And we dwell on that uncertainty. And we start hand wringing. I told you about my mom. She's a big hand wringer. Worry about uncertainty. Robin Sharma quote. This is where this quote will absolutely unlodge all of the stuff that's in your head that causes you to go that way. And this is the quote: what you focus on grows. What you think about expands. What you dwell upon, that becomes your destiny. So if you're dwelling on uncertainty, don't you think you're going to find more uncertainty all around every single corner? Don't you think it's going to be harder and worse? Don't you think? Of course it is. Because we don't know what's next, and we sit there and we hand wring over what's next. We find ourselves feeling bad, feeling anxious, feeling stressed out, and that brings us to that place of hand wringing syndrome. And nobody ever does well with being a hand wringer. It doesn't feel good. It just makes it worse and brings on more of it, because what you have done at that point is you press the button on your reticular activating system, which is basically your radar system that picks up more of the same. And I don't know about you, but more of the same to pick up. I want to pick up more abundance, more love, more giving, more empathy. That's what the more of that I want. I don't want more of this uncertainty stuff. I recognize that uncertainty is there. I give it a nod because it is there. You do too. We all have to accept that uncertainty is there. But I'm telling you, dwelling in the land of uncertainty is a surefire way of getting more of stuff that you don't want. I promise you, it's true. So how do we stop doing that? How do we stop doing that? Especially if it's, a time-wasting habit and we find ourselves just like stuck in this whole place of being uncertain and scared and hand-wringy and all of that. How do we get ahead of that? Well, number one is to make yourself a reminder. I'm going to show you. Make yourself a card that says, let it go. Let it go. Because, yeah, easier said than done, says most. Sure, I get you. Of course it's easier said than done. But sometimes we have to remind ourselves to get to that place where we finally do let it go. How about that? Huh? Anyone? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in the place where you've heard something over and over again and then suddenly it just clicks into place? Suddenly you go, holy cow, here I am. Anybody? I have. And what I know is that we can create the life that we want to live simply by letting go of the things that we do not want. Uncertainty is there. It's like fear. Fear is there. We have fear sometimes too about certain things. But when we recognize that we can make it bigger or smaller, then that is the place that we move to. And then we can start letting it go. Let it go. I use, by the way, 3x5 cards, one of my favorite things. I write down things that have moved my heart and have made me go, aha, and think about things like that Robin Sharma quote that I just gave you. It's one of my very favorites. And I have that written down and I often look at it because I want to dwell on the things that are going to expand my life and make it better. That's vibrancy, y'all. That's vibrancy. Number 2 is to feel the feels. You know, you know what it feels like to feel the feels? You know what it's like to feel grief? That's part of uncertainty. What's next for me in my life if you've lost somebody that you love? You got to evaluate them. You got to look at them and you got to embrace those emotions. What do they point to? What are they pertinent to today? Or is it something that you're just rolling around in that's way yesterday? And I'm not talking about grief per se. What I'm talking about, though, is going back and reliving things over and over and over again. Because when we go back and relive things over and over again, not only do we experience those same emotions, but we experience the same body chemicals that come out from that whole thing. And you know what that does? That puts us, you might as well be right back there again. And that's just not helpful. That's not the thing that we need to do. We need to deal with them in our own unique way. We need to unload them. We need to not deny them, but we also need to recognize the need to move past them. And if we can't, then we need to get help, the appropriate help. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, y'all. It happens. Number 3 is we need to redirect sometimes. Sometimes we just get stuck in this little swirly, like a toilet, a little swirly. And we need to be redirected, just like a toddler or a puppy. Here, chew on this, not my shoe, right? It's so true. Oh gosh, Sarah she just hit the nail on the head. So much of my disordered eating was related to avoiding painful feelings. Of course, because painful feelings is a place. Talk about uncertainty. You don't know what to do with them. What do you do with them? And the only thing that I can say, the only thing that's ever worked for me is to just feel them and to write about them and to cry them out and to go sit in a bathtub and to just be with them. But if they come on repeat and repeat and repeat, then we need to go get professional help. Sometimes there are things that we can deal with and sometimes there are things that we can't. But also redirection, that's so important because there are times when we just need our attention refocused. How about a toddler? Anybody ever have to deal with a toddler who's just going, woo, completely losing it on aisle 5 of your grocery store? And what do? You redirect them. You don't scold them and tell them they're wrong. You don't ignore them. I've seen that too, by the way. That's just terrible. Talk about dismissing someone's feelings at an early age, a parent doing that, please. Horrible. But, you can redirect them. You can say, what time do you think daddy's going to be home? Or you can redirect them and say, should we read a story when we get home or should we go and play with the ball? Start having a conversation with, redirect them. You can do that with yourself too. You're not the only one. You don't have to be stuck where you are. You can redirect things. Number 4 is to focus on your hot desire. What do you want? Is this what you want? Do you want to live and dwell in the land of uncertainty? Or are you looking to instead have the things that are on your goal list? Your goals, the ones that you're working on right now, the ones that are going to get you through to the end of the year, that are going to make you feel really proud about what you've accomplished. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. Every single person on this planet has a hot desire of something that they want. What if we thought about that instead of uncertainty? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just bet you money, that uncertainty is not your hot desire. Am I right? Totally. Number 5, remember this. This is part of your brain I wish everybody understood this. Your amygdala, which is your fear center of the brain, and it's teeny tiny, right? And it doesn't like anything. It wants everything to stay the same. However, get this, that if you go ahead and do it anyway, the thing that's hard, the thing that's a little scary, and ignore the uncertainty and go to a different place, because sometimes uncertainty becomes a comfort zone. I hate to say that, but it's true. And if we do that, and ignore it and go to the top and go to the top of what it is that we want. Go to our hot desire, go to the high vibe thing that we want. Then our amygdala is going to reward us with a big hit of dopamine and make us feel good about ourselves because we didn't succumb to the siren's call of uncertainty. Because uncertainty never does feel good. It makes us feel lost, abandoned, in a sea of unknowing whatever. So remember that. This is great. You want that feeling of goodness. You want that dopamine hit. Take it. Number 6, you need the Cowardly Lion's courage. Do you remember the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz? Of course you do. Fear and uncertainty, those are best friends. But courage is the price that life exacts for granting peace. That's what Amelia Earhart said. I'm going to say that again. I think it's a great quote. Courage is the price that life exacts for granting peace. The courage to do something different, the courage to stand up to your amygdala, one of the most primitive parts of your brain, the courage to stand up to yourself and say, hold on, time out. I don't want uncertainty. I want a life of vibrancy. Uncertainty, take a seat. Right now, I'm going after what it is that I want. Uncertainty is going to be there, I promise you. So's fear. Oh, well, part of life, y'all. Can we live with that? I can. Just remember, we can also shrink it to fit. We don't have to make it the big, bad boogeyman and scare the living hell out of everybody and ourselves. We don't. You don't. You can bring it down and you can put it into bite-sized pieces and just say, there you are, uncertainty. There you are, fear. It's just here. It's just here. Well, thank you. Thank you, Gigi. I appreciate you. I like that. And then number 7 is to use your experience file. I'm going to explain the experience file again for you, especially on TikTok, for those of you who maybe not heard about this. But the experience file changed my life. It changed my life. It can change yours. Because the fact is that we are going to go back and we are going to look at memories that aren't so pleasant. But I will promise you this is the thing that I know, that in that experience, there is something that can be gleaned from it and a lesson can be learned, or something can be taught from it, or something can come back to teach someone something. That's all we need to take from our experience. We don't need to take all those old emotions. We don't need to roll around in feeling horrible. We don't. We just need the lesson from the experience. And that is what we put in the experience file. We extrapolate the experience from the experience. We extrapolate the lesson from the experience, and that's it. That's our experience file. Good one. It helps us. And you can warn somebody else about it or whatever. I love what Sarah just said. Oh, well, is one of my favorite phrases. And yet, even so, nevertheless, she persisted. And nevertheless, she persisted. I always say, I like to also use a lot of what ifs and can you imagine? Those are things that I like to use. Because here the thing is that when uncertainty comes, I can always say, well, what if I just said to uncertainty, you know what, there you are again. But I'm going to let you sit over here on this side. I'm going this way because I want to go and live my life in a way that's courageous, that's brave, that's abundant, that is full of all the vibrancy that I can possibly muster. And I just have one thing to say to everyone who's here listening right now. It's all there for you. You just have to grab it and say, I'm taking it. I'm taking it. That doesn't make you greedy. That doesn't mean anything. It just means that you get it. You get it. When you get it, you have to go after it because you are courageous. You are brave. And you're a beautiful, living human being put on this earth on purpose, for purpose, fearfully and wonderfully made. And I don't want you to ever, ever, ever forget that. Uncertainty cannot rob you of that. No, it can't. Not on my watch. And fear, take a seat. For heaven's sakes, I'm so sick of fear. I'm so sick of uncertainty. I'm sick of all of it. What I'm not sick of, though, is the abundance that is mine. That is my birthright, and it's your birthright as well. Let's live at that place. Live at that place. Feel it in your heart. Feel it in your chest. and let that spread out, overflowing, abundant onto everyone that you meet, everyone that you touch. Because it can be like that. It can be like that. Uncertainty doesn't have to have a foothold on your life. Not on your own watch either. Pinkies up, Nancy. Pinkies up to all of you. Gigi, thank you so much for showing up. You're a moderator for several accounts. You're used to helping. What a sweetheart you are. Absolutely. Appreciate the fact that you sent me so many likes and are talking a little bit about us over here on TikTok. And you on YouTube and Facebook, you know I love you. Thank you so much. Don't forget about the Gorgeous Skin webinar. That's next Wednesday. SavingDinner.com/gorgeous, because you are gorgeous. Peace be with you. I appreciate you both all. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.